Without a moment's delay, High Priest Kwatamani has something impacting to say. Supreme Soothsayer, Soul Seer, Spiritual Healer, Revealer, Chief Elder of the Kwatamani First Genesis Tribe, the oldest, longest sustained, purely raw and living, plant fuel consuming, family community order known, over half a century and still going strong.
And I greet you with the greater possibility and focus of resurrecting the unified bond of masculine and feminine energy, he and she.
Supreme love for real. The need for each other has been so badly twisted, so shape-shifted. Most folks missed it.
Warning, this message may in fact break the pact, changing how one think, reason, and act. It may break the seal and instill the will to urgently detox, purge, and heal. Look, listen, learn, discern. See how you feel.
Whoever controls the hands that rock the crib, she controls each and every generation of that nation.
To divide the family of man, he and she, a self-deified strategy to split the nucleus of the human race, scatter the family base, replace the earth solar conscious male, he who divinely guide and protect without fail, erased by the opposing nature of a he who is worshipped monotheistically.
And somehow we have got to work our way out of that stale and pale consciousness of thought and reasoning and action. It's actually been programmed as an attitude, a value, a behavior, and a belief.
No place for femininity to be honored, loved, and uplifted. So she has shifted into her own pale reflection, the projection of an ice goddess hell.
And it's very difficult because there's so much stuff up inside that brain, up inside that mind that has been encoded there. And there's so many different feelings that one has come in contact with that makes that being feel they are so right, or what they're doing is so right, by their own little personal sense of wanting to glorify their own achievements or accomplishments.
Under a deep free spell, filled with spite and scorn, encoded in every offspring born, reproducing cold-paled energy in its own downward spiral gone viral.
We can't expect those who are tied to that nature to give forward that opportunity to a sacred few. They're too focused on their own self-asserted glory. What happens in truth and reality when we face the state and condition of Mother Earth, when we face the state and condition of humanity?
In this final hour, divided and filled with contempt, any attempt to reconcile this love-hate syndrome must begin in a broken home.
Is the same old in a lower-less estate.
A divided house cannot stand, and this is just the way it was planned.
And somehow we have got to work our way out of that stale and pale consciousness of thought and reasoning and action. And if we're going to raise the offsprings up, we got to give them a whole different kind of profile. The profile is not going to look like the status quo. The profile is going to look like the reality of what he and she must do.
For the young stud stuck in the mud and the mover and shaker that is a dream maker, may he open his eyes to see the truth of his soul identity and how he's being jerked, twerked, worked by a puppet master, using his sexuality to feed a fatal disaster, reproducing soul depletion even faster.
The profile that we have chosen, for example, is a profile of simplicity.
Encoded holistically for all to see the reality. Divine social economic family community.
Time to detox, purge and heal. Feel supreme love for real.
Simplicity like utilizing solar energy, utilizing the daylight, utilizing those particular things that will make life simple so that more time can be put into the resurrecting of those offspring, the teaching and the learning process that we all need to be going through on a daily basis, wherever we are in our stage of life. to be able to have an interface, an interrelationship with Mother Nature, so we will have more love and care for her. And in that way, we become an agent of perpetuating her health, safety, and well-being, because the health, safety, and well-being of Mother Nature, Mother Earth, will reflect the health, safety, and well-being of each and every one of us. We have to move to the point of recognizing that, okay, we must learn to better care for our garden environment. This is the approach that the First Genesis tribe takes. Yes, this is our approach in life, to make sure that those trees are wholesome and healthy. Make sure that the offsprings learn when it's mosquito time, to be avoiding of those mosquitoes, not to spray the entire environment to kill all the mosquitoes and the trees and all the other herbs and other things around, but rather to realize how to interface with the environment, how to face each of the circumstances as they occur within a unified bond of oneness. And if we can't get that unified bond of oneness between each other, he and she, if we can't get the he to have natural respect, instead of feeling like it's always got to be a competitive nature and it always got to be a one-upmanship where he try to find a way to put the other one down and make him rise up, or within the feminine to have that sense of the same nature of that roaming vibration where she's perpetuating envy and jealousy in nice subtle ways, trying to show her intellectual rising up as a statement of pushing the other one down. This whole scenario, which has been passed across the border from he to she and reverse, he to he and she to she, to keep that mindset that opposes our existence in place, controlling your existence.
Be she blonde, brunette, or naughty dread, gotta get greener solar consciousness encoded in her head. Got to feel her, give guidance and protection to heal her from deep dark cocoa to vanilla. She's our spirit conscious sealer. Got to feel her, got to heal her. Our first teacher, got to reach her, or that Babylon system will beat ya in the womb, where she will be divine order or self-deified, individualized doom and gloom.
We are a part of a collective oneness. Masculine and feminine energy is the essence of life and supreme love. And we're the he and she expressing that excellence. That's where we're supposed to be. That requires a lot of work. We have to first give all due respect to each other, the masculine and feminine energy, and to know how essential one is to the other. We have to comprehend that that essential element is about the forward multiplication, and even coming to realize that the forward multiplication of our existence is why we are on this planet in the first place. So many do not want to hear this. So many have the feeling that it is all about me and my presence and those things that I want and those things that I can flash, and not comprehending that you are part of a collective oneness, and we have to respect the wholeness of our existence in order to receive the satisfactions of what life has to give. I'm speaking from the heart and soul here, because the more I look and sense this thing that has been perpetuated to us as life, the more I realize that what actually has happened is a warlord culture which has perpetuated a sense of domination, control, and rule. Came, saw, conquer in its reality, has perpetuated a slave mindset over mass population to satisfy itself. And that it is not going to personally break the codes that satisfies itself. And it makes it clear within the Western culture concepts that everyone has the freedom to choose. Yet, the choice that one makes has already been master programmed in his or her mind, so there is no choice. And when someone makes a decision to focus on a holistic living lifestyle change, the reality is that person is being pegged. You're being brainwashed. As though it is a sin to wash your brain from toxic disorder.
Systematic bondage tracked and traced. This is the truth brother must face. His original nature replaced, ancestral lines erased, but DNA-based codes are present still, placed under seal, protecting the integrity of ancestral masculine will. Femininity, she the key, stolen away from he. His joy, his treasure, his spiritual pleasure, as historically stated, his soulmate violated. He castrated to be eliminated as provider of divine guidance and protection, lost his spiritual connection.
We have to begin to realize the state and condition that man, he and she finds his and her being in right now. And we have to focus on the fact that no matter how much work it takes, it is necessary for us to apply divine thought and reasoning in action to raise up from this level that has been placed upon us. Yes, that is right. The feminine, the key, has been stolen away from he. The objective is, she is the birthplace. She carried the seed of life, physically perpetuating that life presence. Just like he carries the seed of spirit conscious energy, unseen energies, into her womb. Since the feminine, she carried the bulk of that responsibility for each and every one of us for 9 months. And then after that, obviously she's been geared and designed by the unseen and seen presence of our existence to be able to do so. But she should not be left to do that thing alone. We have to comprehend. Once the male can actually feel the soul of that seed that is inside the womb of she, the natural innate state of our existence calls for he to feel tied to giving her guidance and protection. However, if the bond of divine guidance and protection has been broken, he feels nothing. That allows him to function like a predator. And as a predator, he can just continue to move, having no feeling or no care about nothing except on to the next mission. And she's left with that responsibility in order to make he or she a permanent slave. There has to be a break-in. And that break-in has occurred. The bond of masculine and feminine energy has been torn apart, ripped and torn apart. And the mission of putting that back together is humongous, because it's been ripped and torn apart for generations and generations after that. And the masculine and feminine energy has come to look at his own self or her own self within a whole different kind of reasoning. Now she, being communal by nature, really sincerely desire to have a male present. And it's so heartbreaking for her to walk this thing alone after she opened up and said, okay, you love me, you sure? Oh yeah, baby. And then she's left stranded. It puts a torn heart. It creates a sense of instability that I do not think most males have any ability to comprehend, because the bond has been torn apart. And when that bond is torn apart, he's thinking for the moment. He's thinking about getting that little groove on, because she's so fine, whatever that means. She looks so luscious, whatever that means.
hard on could make a man lose all his sense, get real intense, ready to cover her expense, making her feel high and mighty, feeling the flighty from his attention, not to mention his lustful stare. Nah, she didn't care when her mama said beware. She was young and naive, ready to believe the romantic plot, got caught in his love me not, did not turn out well after the draws fail. In the fairy tale, as happily ever after turned into a heartbreaking disaster. So she learned to rap, reversed the curse of the trap, kidnapped his soul, placed his mind under her control before he left her womb, humanity's first class room.
Not even comprehending the natural and innate state of how we function as man, he and she. The natural and innate instinctual vibrations. Those vibrations that's within the she, those vibrations that's within the he, that keep us longing for each other. That keeps us seeking to have that intimacy between each other. Forgetting that that has been encoded for our survival. And it has now become a way of perpetuating the production of a herd. The hunters and herders herded animals, and then they learned that they can herd human beings as well. So if you split the bond, and if we can think of how they handled the herding of the animals, where the male bull is shackled and chained and pushed away from the female, and his only job is to walk around and hump. And she, hers is to breed. And those offspring the hunter and herder is to feed off of. And it continues like that, and that's the exact kind of parallel that has been perpetuated against the divine union of masculine and feminine energy, looked upon as herd. And we cannot hear this holistic living truth because it's been perpetuated for so long that those who feel herded are very anxious to have their offsprings join the lifestyle of the herders so they can once again be better herded to feed the next perpetuation of this toxic and oppositional nature. I was talking to the priestess about the chickens. I was talking about the rooster and the hens, and how the rooster, they call him a cock, get my vibe, walks around in that yard. All his job is to do, other than holler cock-a-doodle-doo, is to hump. That's his job. And that's perpetuated to continue to breed stock. And so if man, he and she, has been turned into livestock to serve the interests of a livestock keeper, then they will function the same way. And when we look around today, come on, we know that's what we see. Inside those various burials, inside those various ghettos, inside those various other kinds of situations, it has become stockyards. And there is no concern about the thinking and the reasoning and the actions, because that's not even necessary. Just put a program in, and then everybody function by that program until the day they perish. Their life energy is consumed. It continues to perpetuate wealth for wealth keepers. The whole attitude, value, behavior, and beliefs completely remain under the control of that mindset into perpetuity.
And from then until detox, purging, and healing begin, deep within, man, he and she would be born in sin.
Then I was looking at a little cat walking around And as we're communicating right now, I hear this cat. The cat is walking around, hollering meow. For those who are cat keepers, you know what I'm speaking about. And the cat cannot find a male, and she's in heat. So she's just walking the street in this jungle, meowing, and doing it in a certain way that creates a cat call. Now what happens if that particular kind of nature is perpetuated on populations that have been herded? It becomes very clear that the female will walk around doing everything by any means necessary to make, let's call it a cat call. And her whole objective is to display whatever is necessary of her body to get the male to feel that he wants to come and have some contact. And that's what goes on. Now, here's the reality. We're not predators by nature, although have been produced to a predatory nature under the control of a predatory mindset that has degenerated and mutated into a predatory state of being. That is not our natural innate state. But what happened with the female in that instance is that she will be so disrespected, and she's the birthplace of our existence. Every offspring born off of her will be born disrespectful to their natural and innate state of being. As a matter of fact, man, he and she will lose their natural and innate state of reasoning, state of thought, state of existence, and will become under the control of a predatory mindset that has degenerated and mutated into a predatory state of being.
Can't you understand? Every woman, every man needs love.
His eyes televised what he had in mind, programmed to see another lustful crime. Caught her eyes in a sideways glance, turned into a deep-seated trance. Said it was love at first sight. Loved the way her dress fit just right, skin tight. Yeah, he loved to imagine her naked body moving and grooving in the heat of the night. Looking from the backside, rocking with her rhythm and stride. Firm breast and thighs made his nature rise. Fluffy lips, thick, shapely hips, dreamy eyes. He was in love with his own fantasized pornographic vibe.
So oftentimes I hear parents within the environment talking about how disgusting it is. Their 13-year-old and others are pregnant, and this is nonsense, and etc. They go to school to get educated, and they come back pregnant. It's like, how simple can it be? It is nothing new. There was a period of time when those who were the overseers, who were the slave masters, that's what they did. And it perpetuated what was necessary so that the life energy could be fed off of to enrich those who were the stockyard keepers. And so one tends to feel that they have advanced beyond that because they are now living in a little fancier house and have access to a phone or a car, and not realizing that your life energy is still being served up to the master warlord, to the overlord, to the stock keepers, and that you are simply livestock to be used. Your offsprings are geared and orchestrated to be perpetual livestock unless we make a change. So this is where we are. We who have come into a state of consciousness that lets us know these facts, know full well that I'm speaking these facts right now for those who are kind of walking the borderline and who are not quite clear. But those who are clear already know this. The only thing is, once you know it and you do nothing holistic, nothing natural and innate about it, you're worse than those who do not know it. So we have to come to a fullness of understanding that there must be a way for each each and every being who come into a holistic living state of conscious reasoning as to what we need to do to break the shackles and chains of this toxic disorder. We got to work to connect with each other. We have to work to know that in that connection, you're going to have all kind of fraudulent energies trying to penetrate, to perpetuate toxic disorder. And you're going to have those who you feel should be aligned with you working against you. And you're going to have parents who are going to do everything he and she can to keep you locked into the status quo, knowing full well that it has not served them well. That all they are waiting for now is to either retire or to die. And that is not life. Life is for the living, for giving more life to the next generation so that we will perpetuate the soul-to-soul essence of who we be. The holistic living manifestation of who we be, that is the divine union of masculine and feminine energy within a soul-to-soul context, must be our reality. And that reality requires the natural and innate duty, obligation, and responsibility to uphold and maintain the perpetuation of a wholesome and healthy generation next. Focus on the detoxing, purging, and healing of those toxic disorders. If we are not able to identify those various levels and degrees of toxic disorder, those things that have perpetuated that self-deified nature of individualism, we cannot possibly detox them. So they automatically pass on to the next generation, more and more and more under the pressure of that opposing nature. We must perpetuate divine, social, economic, family, community order. We must learn to grow what we eat naturally, organically. We must learn to perpetuate homeschooling tools with the greatest degree of a new kind of educational process. We cannot stay stuck and stagnant in those processes that has limited and deteriorated our intelligence, making us feel a false sense of glory about something that we have learned that is a deception in the first place. Where is the logics of a male who will be part and parcel of destroying his earthly presence, of destroying his offspring in war and conflict and other people's offspring? Because what goes to you is going to come from somebody else back to you when you put it back out to them. And that's supposed to be logical thinking. We have to comprehend the miseducation element and focus on the re-education of the generation next. We have to have a greater focus on rechanneling our whole life energy and know that we have to rechannel our energy into a sacred purpose that focus on communal resurrection. For the sacred few of the few of the few, we had better find ways and means to interconnect, to go through a growing and expansion phase. We're talking about collective, conscious, communal order, putting together family community networks that can interface with each other on a mental, physical, and spiritual consciousness that actually gives honor, praise, thanks, and appreciation to Mother Earth, to humanity, and to all living things thereof, so that we can actually bring this forward to the next generation. What we must perpetuate is a nature that will safeguard the intelligence that has emerged out of the ancient wisdom that's given forward to us. And in that perpetuation, divine order is a necessity.
Encoded holistically for all to see the reality. Divine social economic family community.
Time to detox, purge and heal. Feel supreme love for real.